This is what we like to call our little friend. This is the P-51 Mustang. This aircraft was built in 1943. This is a P-51C Mustang. It was considered to be an escort fighter that would escort the World War II bombers like the B-17 and B-24 to their mission. It is a fighter aircraft. It usually had a complement of 6 50 caliber machine guns in the wings and would be used to fight off enemy aircraft from altitude and escort the bomber aircraft into the target. P-51 Mustang was one of the first that could actually escort aircraft right to the target. Others had to turn back before they reached enemy territory because of limited fuel supplies on board. This specific P-51 Mustang, a C model, is an early model, replaced later on by the D model, which most people know. It has a bubble-style canopy on the top of it. The early style canopy was replaced because of the fact that it had very limited visibility from the rear, so you can see that you've got basically your fuselage behind the aircraft and you can't really see very much behind you. This specific model is configured as a TP-51C, a trainer aircraft that has 2 cockpits and 2 sets of controls. This allows us to offer flight training experiences on board the aircraft and allows people to actually get a chance to fly the P-51. You'll notice that it does not have the armament in the wings. We did that to save weight on this aircraft and to create a better flight control surface. Traditionally, the 50 caliber machine guns, there will be 3 in each wing in the area that you see the yellow stripe on each of these. This aircraft has about a top speed of around 390 miles an hour. Traditionally, we operated around 290 to 300 miles an hour. It is fully aerobatic, does loops and rolls, and during the flight experiences and the flight training that we offer, people can actually do those aerobatic maneuvers with our trained pilots. This is the cockpit of the P-51 Mustang. It was traditionally used for only one pilot. The cockpit is very, very tight and very, very sparse, as you'll notice. It has very standard analog style instruments and is controlled by that central control stick there. Your throttle control is on the left-hand side of the cockpit, and that would be controlling the engine. All the rest of your flight controls and flight instrumentation are scattered throughout the aircraft. As you can see, we also have a parachute on board. All of our operations, all of our flight operations include a parachute for both the pilot and passenger, the flight trainee, during the flight due to the fact that this aircraft is high performance. We take utmost safety into concern for every flight operation. The secondary cockpit is pretty much exactly like the first cockpit. This is an aftermarket modification that would have been done by pilots, by crews later in the war, to use as a VIP transport aircraft. It is exactly like the front cockpit. As you'll notice, the instrument panel is very much the same, contains the same flight control and engine instrumentation. This is where the passenger or the flight trainee sits during our flight operations. And this is where people can actually get a chance to fly the aircraft as part of our flight experience flight training program on the P-51C. This aircraft is unique for the fact that it was built originally, designed by North American Aviation in 1940 with an Allison engine on the front, which was an American-built product. Later in the war, the British actually attached their Rolls-Royce Merlin engine on this aircraft, and it performed better. So later on, the P-51B and C model and the later D and K models all featured the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, and it was built under contract by Packard Motor Corporation here in the United States. So it was a very, very interesting example of allies helping allies during World War II, making a better product together.